Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I'm your host, Veteran Mountain Man, and it is another beautiful, beautiful Saturday here in Tennessee. God, all the Democrats had to do to even attempt to win the 2020 election was don't be crazy. I mean, we've seen polls. We know that there's a lot of Americans who think that the current president is very crass. They're tired of the gridlock. They want some sort of alternative. And here Trump is being good. He gave this great State of the Union just recently. He's showing a willingness to work. He's doing all of these things that people are saying he should be doing. And the Democrats just can't hold their crazy in anymore, which is not really surprising. I mean, even when you go back to, the late 1800s and the women's temperance movement, where women were going into bars with axes and breaking open bottles and barrels, and supported by the KKK to create prohibition, which in turn raised the crime rate in the country through the roof. The New Deal, which was racist and segregist, and created a massive expansion of government. Realistically, they've always been crazy. It's just certain periods they have been better at hiding their crazy than others. And there are times when a crazy idea can seem rational. But some of the things this week out of the Democrat Party have just been phenomenally harsh. So we've got the governor in Virginia, not West Virginia, Northam, supporting infanticide, yet the Democrats are upset about a picture of him either in blackface or the KKK hood. Now, that picture was in the 1980s. Yes, it was racist to be in blackface. Yes, it was racist to be in the KKK hood. Do I think he should be kicked out of government exclusively on racism? No, I think that's his party's issue to clean up, because they were the ones who ran him through the Democrat National Committee Virginia chapter. Okay? That is their problem. If they have an issue with what he represents or what he's done in his past, they should have vetted him better. That's not the problem I have with him. I have a problem with his politics, especially his support of infanticide as a doctor. But, if he supports infanticide as a doctor, which is directly against the Hippocratic oath that he took when he became a doctor, it shows a lack of moral fiber within his being. Now, he's refusing to resign because his lieutenant governor is currently mired in a sexual assault or sexual rape allegations. There are now two accusers who have come forward who give very similar stories with very detailed dates, times, locations, and everything else. Some of the story can be corroborated from one. One of the other stories is very much a he said, she said type story. And so this looks really bad for him. Now, I remember when Kavanaugh was sitting for his appointment to the Supreme Court, that a mere accusation alone should have barred him from being on the Supreme Court, according to Kamala Harris, according to Nancy Pelosi, according to Dianne Feinstein, according to Chuck Schumer. But they're not calling for this lieutenant governor to resign immediately in the same way that they were fighting to stop Justice Kavanaugh. Now, the Democrats are in a real pickle because the Attorney General of the state of Virginia has also admitted to blackface. Now, I don't know a whole lot about this man because I don't live in the state of Virginia. But I have to ask, what were the people of Virginia thinking in the 1980s that it was good to bring back this classic racist concept of blackface as some sort of social faux pas, taboo, pushing the boundaries type of thing to do in society. It was clearly seen as racist in the 1980s. Heck, you've got Dear White People on frickin' Netflix talking about this, accusing basically all white people of being this way. And it's just not true. It really is not. I have never done a blackface routine. I have never painted my skin specifically to try to look black or African American or any of that in any capacity. Now, I've worn face paint for Halloween as part of costumes, but the costumes were not designed to imitate black people. They were designed to be frightening or a caricature of a figure that would not be something that could be construed as racist. I don't have a problem with kids dressing up in costumes. I do have a problem with you thinking it is okay to politically satire or to use this concept of blackface as some sort of statement or expression or something of that nature, because it is extremely, extremely racist to do this. It was racist in the minstrel shows of the 20s. We knew it was in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, and that's why it became a sign of racism. And it's time some people actually stood up about that. Now, that being said, we also come to Ilhan Omar this week has sent a statement to, I believe it's Michigan AG Ellison, about the U.S. Powerlifting Association not allowing trans women, read XY chromosome and born with testosterone, to compete with real women, read XX chromosome, low testosterone, in the same competition. Now, here's a very hard truth. Men have more muscle mass. It is a genetic condition of testosterone. The higher your testosterone levels are when you are younger, the more muscle mass you develop. Testosterone is a hormone linked to male physiology extensively and to the XY chromosome configuration. Doesn't mean women don't have some testosterone, they do, but on average their levels are far lower than what any man has. Even some of these soy boys at Huffington Post who have taken testosterone tests and shown that they're on the low end of normal for men have double what the average woman has. And so the idea that this is a fair competition to women who were born with XX chromosomes is laughable, but she's fighting it based on this idea of equal rights. You can't make this stuff up, people. I'm not. You can look it up. It is literally out there. And then, of course, we had AOC's Green New Deal, which, if you looked at it before she got a chance to pull it down, her campaign pulled it down because it was just absolutely in Marxist left la-la land. It read almost like a new rendition of the Communist Manifesto, based on clean energy instead of on classist politics. I mean, it really did. I read through the 6 pages. I've seen several people talk about this. I think the shining point is that she wanted to get rid of all air traffic in favor of high-speed rail. I hate to tell AOC this, but we can't cross the Atlantic or Pacific Ocean on high-speed rail. We can't. You won't easily be able to build high-speed rail between the coast of California and Hawaii. So in those cases, we would end up having to take ships. And ship travel between the United States and Europe takes days on fast ships. Air traffic takes hours. I've flown to Europe multiple times. It's a 16-hour flight from Atlanta, Georgia to Frankfurt, Germany. Non-stop. One plane. 16 hours. You can't do that on a ship. If you could even build a high-speed rail solution from the East Coast to Europe, you still wouldn't be able to do it in 16 hours. And it would be far more impacting on the environment than air traffic is. So even her Green New Deal was another example of insane leftist lunacy this week. You know, at this point, you can't even satire the left because they have become so extreme. And what's worse is this Green New Deal, a bunch of senators who are running for the Democrat National Committee for president have already sponsored it or stated publicly that they will sponsor it. And nobody's asking them questions. Nobody's talking about this to them. Instead, we're seeing articles and discussions like Cuomo on CNN declaring that it's immoral for there to be poor, that you can stop poverty 100%. There has never been a time in the world where there has never been poverty. And the people in the United States who are in poverty live far better than people in poverty in the rest of the world. That's why we have so many people trying to come here. Because even here in the United States, in poverty, you live better than in poverty in other nations. So, I mean, take it for what it is. It seems that we have got more extremism coming down the pipe. And realistically, the campaigns haven't even heated up yet. So it looks like at this point, the DNC is going to be a cartoon of itself by the time they have a presidential candidate put forward. And that really saddens me because having an opposition, having somebody who can actively, coherently construct opposition to your position is an important, fundamental way of exploring what you think, understanding how you think, and becoming a better person. But when your opponent is a comical straw man, it doesn't benefit you at all. Well, thank you all again for joining me. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to buy your AOC is the reason we should raise the voting age to 26 t-shirt or hoodie on Teespring. And I hope you have a great weekend.